The Buddha once said, "If you cannot find a good companion to walk with, walk alone, like a rhinoceros with a single horn." 2,500 years later, those words still know exactly where it hurts. Have you ever had a day off, and suddenly, being alone just feels uncomfortable? You pick up your phone. Nothing you really want to see. You scroll through social media. Someone looks like they're having the time of their life. And somewhere in that scrolling, a quiet feeling creeps in, like everyone else is part of something, and you've been left out. Being alone starts to feel like losing, like you should be with someone, like you should be connected. And if you're not, if no one is reaching out, if no one needs you right now, then somehow you're not quite real. That quiet anxiety just rises slowly without warning. Today I'd like to sit with that feeling for a moment, together. Is loneliness really something to be afraid of? Or is there something important, something we've been missing, hiding inside it? An answer has been waiting for us for 2,500 years. A monk once spent 40 years in a cave, speaking to no one. When visitors finally found him, they expected to see a broken, withered man. Instead, they found someone so radiant, so complete, that people wept just being near him. He had not been lonely, he had been alone with everything. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, and in that solitude, he did not feel abandoned. What I want to share with you comes from one of the oldest collections of the Buddha's words, a book of verses called the Dhammapada, which means the path of truth. These are not polished sermons or elaborate philosophy. They're short, almost bare, like stones worn smooth by a river, and in them, echoed also in another ancient text, one image keeps returning again and again. Walk alone, like a rhinoceros with a single horn. Why a rhinoceros? Why its horn? The rhinoceros has one horn, not two, just one, growing straight forward, unbending, unbothered by wind or weather, or what any other animal is doing. The Buddha saw something in that image, a way of moving through the world that we've almost forgotten. In those days, monks traveled and lived in communities, learning together, supporting each other. That was good and necessary. The Buddha valued it, but he also said something careful. If you find a wise companion, someone truly good to walk with, then walk with them. But if you cannot find such a person, walk alone, like a rhinoceros. This isn't a rejection of other people. It's not saying, be cold, be distant, need no one. It's saying something quieter than that. It's asking, are you walking your own path, or are you following someone else's footsteps just because you're afraid of silence? These words weren't only meant for monks in ancient India. I believe they were meant for anyone who has ever picked up their phone just to escape the feeling of being alone. That means they were meant for us. A woman I knew once told me that she realized after 40 years, she had never made a single decision without first checking what her husband thought, what her mother would say, what her friends were doing. She was traveling through life in a crowd, she said, but no one was actually with her. When she finally spent a week alone, really alone, without distraction, she discovered something unexpected. She wasn't lonely. She was finally meeting herself. The rhinoceros doesn't walk alone because it's strong enough to reject connection. It walks alone because it knows the difference between solitude and the kind of loneliness that comes from being surrounded by people while losing yourself. Let's stay with this image a little longer. Walk alone, like a rhinoceros. In Buddhist teaching, one of the deepest sources of human suffering is what's called attachment. The way we grip things, terrified to let go. It can be possessions, status, a certain version of ourselves, and it can be people, or rather the need for people. I'm nothing without someone beside me. If no one is watching, do I even exist? I need to be needed. These thoughts, most of us have felt them. And the Buddha would say, that kind of clinging is exactly where suffering starts. So what does it mean to walk alone in the way the Buddha described? It doesn't mean isolating yourself. It doesn't mean building walls. It means even while you're in relationship with the world, there's a quiet place inside you that belongs only to you. A place that isn't shaken by whether someone texts you back, or likes what you posted, or approves of your choices. I think there are two very different kinds of loneliness. One is the loneliness of disconnection, the feeling that no one sees you, no one reaches you. That loneliness is real and it hurts, but there is another kind, the loneliness you choose, the kind where you sit in a quiet room and you're not afraid of it, where you can be with yourself. That kind of solitude isn't emptiness. It's a form of richness. The Buddhist texts speak of an inner light, something already burning inside you, whether anyone is watching or not. But here's the thing, you can't always see that light when you're surrounded by noise. Sometimes the room has to get a little quieter first. Walk alone like a rhinoceros isn't a command to be alone. It's an invitation to find your own light and trust that it's been there all along. So what does this mean for us? Living the lives we actually live. We are possibly the most connected humans who have ever existed. Any moment of silence can be filled in seconds. A podcast, a notification, a message, a reel of someone else's highlight reel. We are rarely alone, and yet so many of us feel profoundly lonely. I want to ask you something gently. When you reach out to someone, when you feel the urge to call or text or scroll, is it because you genuinely want to be with that person? Or is it because the quiet got too loud? Neither answer is wrong, but just sitting with the question honestly can show you something real about where you are right now. Or think about your work, your decisions. Do you find yourself always checking with someone before you trust your own judgment? Always going with the group because deciding alone feels dangerous? Setting aside what you actually feel because everyone else seems to think differently? That too might be the opposite of the rhinoceros. Walk alone means grow roots. A tree with deep roots can stand in a storm by itself. A tree with shallow roots, even surrounded by a whole forest, falls at the first strong wind. Here's something small you might try. Not a technique, just an experiment. Put your phone face down, turn off the music, and just sit for 5 minutes. Not to meditate, not to achieve anything, just to be there. Or when you walk outside, take out your earphones. Listen to your own footsteps for a while. Or tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, take 3 slow breaths first, just 3. These aren't life-changing rituals. They're just small ways of spending a little more time in your own company. Because here's what I've come to believe. People who are afraid of being alone are often strangers to themselves. Their own inner world feels unfamiliar, even a little threatening. But the more time you spend there, gently, without forcing anything, the less frightening it becomes. And then something shifts. You start to choose time alone, not because you have to, but because it actually feels good. And from that place, that rooted, quiet place, your relationships with others become something different too. Instead of reaching for people out of fear, you reach for them from fullness. That is what it looks like to walk like a rhinoceros and still love the people around you. Walk alone, like a rhinoceros with a single horn. This isn't a call to be cold or distant or self-sufficient in some hard, lonely way. It's a 2,500-year-old reminder that something quiet and strong already lives inside you. The nights when being alone feels unbearable. The moments when you compare yourself to someone else and come up short. Those aren't signs that you're weak. They might just mean you've gotten very good at listening to the noise outside, and a little out of practice listening to yourself. Today, if you can, find just one moment of real quiet. Not to fix anything, not to figure anything out, just to stand in the stillness for a breath or two. There's nothing frightening in that silence, only the soft, steady sound of you. Still here, still breathing. Your light is there, it always has been. Thank you truly for spending this time with me today. The rhinoceros doesn't seek its horn to prove anything to the forest. It simply carries what is its own, and moves through the world with that quiet completeness. When you stop reaching outward for permission to be whole, you might notice how the scrambling inside finally settles. And in that settling you remember, you were never broken to begin with.